To jumpstart your 2021. I don't know about you, but I'm always so excited when the new year starts, right? We've got a fresh calendar, got all these new goals, all these new ideas. I've already started off with a couple of new habits of adding more water into my day. So in between every cup of coffee, I make myself drink a glass of water. And so, I can still have my coffee, right? Didn't want to cut out and go too extreme. And so it's every other and until I drink my water, I can't have my next cup of coffee. And I can't wait to hear some of the fun things that you guys are doing to set yourself up for success. I'm Angel Tuccy. I am a media exposure specialist. I am just recently moved from Denver after I lived there since I was 14. We lived in the same house for 21 years, and I'm in the process of buying a new home in Orlando, Florida. So it is warm. There are palm trees. I'm on the East Coast time zone, which I've discovered is actually my favorite. I don't start my workday now until 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is pretty dynamite for me. I've never been a morning person. So I'm kind of loving the East Coast time zone thing. So I've designed this 4-week series, right? Just to kind of get us all like rally together, to come on board, to be productive, to share best practices and ideas. I'm big into community, right? I just think that we're stronger together than we are apart. And we can often feel like an island. I think if we're an entrepreneur, the highs are high and the lows are lows. And the email had a different link. Oh, well, that's probably for tomorrow. And so juggling. I think nothing will make you doubt yourself more than being an entrepreneur, right? Like, I love it. I'm amazing. Everything's going great. We're doing all this good stuff. And then like one thing happens and we're like, oh, I'm so defeated. Like, what was I thinking? Why did I even try this? And so when we've got a support group, we've got a team of people and a group that we can rally together with, it just reminds us that this is a journey, right? No, every day is not going to be rainbows and perfect. It is a journey, but we get to do it together. So what I would love to do, right? We can leverage the chat box. If you guys want to say hello, tell us where you're coming from. A lot of you are coming in from Denver because that's where this group originated, was in Denver, Colorado. But we've added some folks in, some different parts of the country. And now thanks to COVID, right? We are a global business, right? We all get to go online and we're instantly international, and we can connect with people all over, not only our state, but our country, right? All over the planet. So Elizabeth, Colorado, North Denver, Pamela. Wow. Good to see you. Denver, Elizabeth. Oh, wait. Wheeling, Illinois, San Francisco, Las Vegas, Lakewood, Colorado, Castle Rock, Colorado. So welcome. And like I said, happy New Year. I want us to be interactive. Right? This is a dialogue, not a monologue. It's just an opportunity for all of us to come together. And so one of the things that kind of the process of today, we're going to talk about just kind of setting ourselves up for success and planning ahead and putting some pieces together for the year, kind of talking about our goals, saying them out loud, right? Having some accountability to that. And then each week we'll build on that for momentum, and helping you to, if you're looking for more exposure, looking for more visibility. I think visibility is the key to success in 2021. And 20 might have just like kind of shook us all, threw us back on our booties a little bit as we were all scrambling, trying to figure out the new, right? Everything live, everything that we were used to doing in person completely canceled, but we were able to shift, we were able to pivot. And I think for a lot of us, like, we were just working with what we had, right? I don't have a green screen, but I've got this. I don't have, a camera or lights, but I've got this, right? Like, working with whatever we had. Well, now I think we've got our sea legs under us a little bit, and we're stronger. I think we're feeling really strong. The entrepreneurial world is absolutely stacked for success. There's more opportunities, there's more revenue than ever, I think, being shared for those that are leveraging the online world. And for those that have never been an entrepreneur and they're seeing this new world that is actually out there and available to them, more people are starting their businesses and shifting. And if they were brick and mortar, I had a gal who was a Pilates client and she's never planning to open up her Pilates studio. She's in California. So she's like, I'm going to always do something online because I can serve my clients. I am recording. They will go into that Media Mastery Facebook group is where I will post those. So if you are a part of my Media Mastery group, you can grab the recordings there. So yeah, if you can't, come in and come live, but I love to have the interaction there. So I truly am just truly honored that you've taken this time, and I want to just celebrate you being an entrepreneur, all that we have gone through, all of that 2020 threw at us, and yet here we are still standing. And I know that for a lot of folks, this was 2020 put them in some pretty significant financial devastation, because when you are relying on somebody else for for your, you've got an employer, right, and they were closed. It was just a very challenging year. And then those companies that were deemed essential, they were not compensated, right, for much essential. And so a lot of families really struggled. But what has happened in the online world and the virtual world and networking, and for entrepreneurs and those that are leveraging digital courses, online networking, online events, publishing, speaking, some of them had their most amazing years. I had a client who has a tax accounting business, and she had her best day ever was in December, right? And it was off season. And it's unheard of for a tax accounting business to do, to have their best day in, with outside of the typical tax season, January to April. Most tax accounting companies really struggled. They had their best day ever. They had a $49,000 day or something like that, one day in December. And when you think about the average entrepreneur, that's like a whole year worth of what they make in a whole year. And here, that day she had 20 employees. The year before she had 3. And so 2020, she was just able to expand, and she's expecting to double that in 21. We had a team who runs a networking team, and their team, now they've been around and they've been building it. This isn't a brand new thing. So it wasn't like right out of the gate, but they were able to leverage the technology and the tools. And their team did $30 million in November, in 1 month, right? During all of this shutdown. It was just, I had another gal, she came to my Media Mastery boot camp in February of last year. And in December, she had her first 30K month. Again, these are numbers that are unheard of, right? Like they're just, this is what the average small business owner is doing in a year, or taking 6 months to do. And so this is the year you are no longer going to be busy but broke, right? This is the year that we explode, to use Deborah's word. And where I want to see explosion is in the bank, right? Like, it would be nice. Yes, it's nice to have accolades, and it's nice to be busy, and it's nice to have 1,000 people watch your video. But where I really want to focus on, and what I focus on, is making sure that explosion happens in the bank, right? Because that's, the difference between a bad month and a good month is money, right? If we are making money, it takes away most of our problems. And if you were to ask most small business owners, right, if you had an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a month right now, if I was to say, hey, here's an extra 5, it's a game changer, right? It is an absolute game changer. And you could hire people, you could hire coaches, you could buy inventory, right? You could get rid of some debt. Like, there's so many things $5,000 to $10,000 would do for an entrepreneur. And I'm going to make sure that by the end of this 4 weeks that you have the systems in place to bring that in to your into your bank account without having to start up really all something new, monetizing the intellectual property that you already have, leveraging the systems and tools that are already in place that we all have access to. Because the difference between a good day and a bad day is when we make money, and that's really what you got in business for. No more busy but broke. And the way that we're going to do that is leveraging you, teaching you how to build one to many. Get your message out, right? Visibility is the key for 2021. Getting your message out onto more platforms, in front of more people, building your audience, because it all starts with building your audience, building your tribe, building those leads, building those followers. The product, right? If you've got a group of people that love you, adore you, are fawning over you, you could launch a new product. You can launch a new service, right? You know, and a lot of times we think in order to double our income, we have to double our customer base, but that's not always true either. Sometimes, like when you've got the right customer base, think about this. If you were a chiropractor and you want to double your business, you can't, you know, if you have 100 clients, you can't really take on 200 clients. Like you cannot physically consume and help, 200, but you could create a new product and sell to that first 100 clients. So there's lots of different ways that we can create that momentum based on what you already have, creating a new product to sell to your current database, or growing that business from one to one to one to many. Instead of serving one client at a time, you're serving them in groups. And I know for a lot of us, if you do private coaching, it's like, oh, I have the most impact when I work one-on-one with a client. And that's probably true. And I know that that's true, but also think about this. Like, you don't have time to just pour into one person at a time. Your impact is even greater when you can serve many. So, all the people that you're spending these one-on-one phone calls, these one-on-one discoveries, one-on-one client at a time, one-on-one serving, think about if you could expand that and how many more people you could truly impact if you could scale that up. And so today we're just going to set ourselves up for success, talk about some goal set or some calendar things, right? What needs to be on our calendar? How do we manage that calendar? Putting some goals in place. I know you guys have probably set some tangible goals that you want to set for the year or hit this year. But before we can go forward with what we want, a lot of times we have to kind of take an assessment and look back at what we're doing and what do we want to take off of our plate? What is something, there was a company years ago, and I think it was Procter and Gamble, that every year they would look at their products and services, and like whatever was like the bottom 10%, they would just eliminate. Like, we're not selling that anymore, right? And get rid of the stuff that is, keeping you busy but broke, or that is not really generating revenue, because a lot of the activities and things that we're doing are not generating the business that we want to see. So we have to remove some of the things that we are doing on a regular basis, right? We have to prune the rose bush, right? So that the better flowers can bloom, right? We don't need 1,000 little bitty little things that are keeping us busy. We need 3 fabulous activities that are giving us exposure and creating revenue. And so here's how we do this. Right? I want you guys to take a piece of paper, and I want you to put a line down the middle. And on the one side, right, if we're gonna, we're just gonna take a piece of paper. I don't know if you can see that with my green screen. Just put a line down the middle, okay? And I want you, on that first column, what are your goals for this year? I want you to just write down, what are some of the goals, the tangible milestones and achievements that you want to see happen this year. And however many you did. If you've got 1, put 1. If you've got 3, put 3. 5, you've probably been thinking about them all week long, right? This is my revenue goal. This is how many clients I want to serve. This is how much I want to weigh, right? Cut out sugar, more quality time with my family, right? You've got You've got your goals on this side of the paper, right? I'm not cutting out popcorn. No, neither am I, Deborah, neither am I. Although I have, yeah, I'll tell you my, I've added, and I said this to, so I'm drinking more water. So in between every cup of coffee, I have to have my glass of water in between before I can have a fresh one. I should probably do that. Like, you know, if I'm going to eat the whole bag in between, I should drink a glass of water in between my bag of popcorn. But so you've got your goals, right? So you've got your goals, and these should be really, you know, tangible, right? They've got deadlines to them. Maybe you put them in the I am statements, like I am successful, right? I run a multi-million-dollar company. I serve X number of clients. I am creating X number of dollars every week. Like, you've got your I am statements, you've got your goals. On the next column, and you might want to look at your calendar. I don't know if you've got to-do lists or how you keep track of the time and what you're doing. I want you to look at the last, what is this? Today is Thursday. Okay, so this week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even today. I want you to look and make a list of the things that you are doing. How have you been spending your time? Right? What are the activities that are taking up your day? The daily activities. You know, you're doing emails, coaching calls, you know, speaking events, networking events, one-on-one calls, you know, connecting with people on LinkedIn, doing your books, like whatever the things are, right? Making a list of the things that are consuming you, right? Your daily activities. Like, it's only, or 3 days in, we can start to see a pattern of how we're filling our days. Does this make sense? Does anybody have any questions? Right? So on the left side of the column is our goals, and on the right side are, you know, kind of our activities, our daily habits, our to-do list, right? Look at your to-do list, right? What is on that to-do list right now that you're saying, okay, I'm going to do? And then this is where kind of the rubber meets the road, right? This is what I want to do, right? On the left side. And this is what I'm actually doing on the right side. Does the right side get you closer to the left side? Are your daily habits in line with what you want to see happen? So for example, right? Probably in a lot of cases, and this isn't like, you know, when we think about what's holding us back in business, you don't have to look any further than the mirror, which is like, oh, right? This hit me one time. I was telling my husband, we were having this conversation, and we're like, you know, what are you doing today? And I just rattled off, right? I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. I mean, I am busy, right? I mean, we wear that busy badge like nobody's business, right? And as I said it out loud to him, it hit me. I'm like, my goals are to do these things. None of these things that is taking up and consuming my entire day. So at the end of today, I will be no closer to what I wanted to achieve this year. And if I do that day in and day out this week, I will be no closer to the goals that I have set for myself and what I want to achieve this year. And if I do that all month long, by the time that month ends, I'm going to look at that goal list and go, yep, yeah, 21 already sucks, right? It's already done and not going to hit it, right? So it's taking a look at what are those activities that are on that daily habits list? What can we cut out? Because some of those stuff, like, it just doesn't even need to be on there, really. Like, it should not even be on there. Maybe it's just, I've always done it that way, right? I've always, you know, organized my card catalog. I don't know. I can't think of like something, like I've always, you know, filed my paperwork at the end of the day, or, you know, I've always checked every email and responded to every email that has come in, because, you know, I started doing that when I was getting 5 emails a day. So I've just always done that. Right? I've always, you know, responded to every, you know, group, looked at every face, spent an hour on Facebook every morning. Like I've always done that. Right. And so some of these things, they just kind of creep in, right, as little behaviors, but they become our daily habits. And so when we can look at these things and go, okay, I need to cut that out like immediately. That doesn't need to be on my list. But some of the things could be automated, right? What are some of the things that maybe you are doing all day long, day in, day out, that maybe we could create a template for? So you're not always freshly writing new emails. Maybe you've got videos. So if you're always asking the same question over and over again, you're giving that same information. Maybe you could create a little 5-minute description video, right? This is how you log into your back office, right? This is how you get started here. This is the first steps. Right? This is the directions to do this thing. Think about those conversations you are having repeatedly, those emails that you are sending the same thing over and over again, the posts that you are posting, the conversations that you are having. What of these items can be automated? Look at some of these things, and what are some of the things that can be outsourced, right? Maybe a virtual assistant, right? You can get a VA for like $8 an hour, right? Maybe even less, depending on some of them, right? There are people on Fiverr that'll do this project for you for $20. Like what you can get for people to do for $20 that is taking us hours, right? Maybe you're designing your own social media graphics, right? You're putting out, you're writing your email campaigns, or just things that are on your list. Like you could, could you pay somebody $20 to take that off of your list so that you are doing the things that are lining up and getting you closer to your goals? So number one, like delete it, like doesn't even need to be on there. Second thing is to automate it, right? How can I document this process and automate it? Because if you can automate it, you can delegate it, right? Somebody else can do it. Technology can do it. A lot of these tracking systems, there's a oh shoot, what is that thing that Zapier? Do you guys use Zapier? Are you guys familiar with Zapier? This is this technology that like zaps your technologies together. So if they sign up over here, do you have to manually put them in your CRM? Like it'll take the contents from your calendar and zap them into your CRM. It'll take the contacts from your Eventbrite and zap them in. Like it'll zap all of your contacts and your leads together so that you're not manually doing some of these steps. So deleting it, automating it, or outsourcing it, delegating it, having somebody else do that. And so when you do that, if you were to take something off of that list, what would you replace it with, right? Because we have to replace it. That puts you closer to your goal. Like what is something that you could put in there instead that puts you closer to the goal? That is income producing, right? That only you can do, that is creating a lead, that is moving somebody through your sales funnel, getting them closer to buy from you, creating more exposure. Right? Could you go and be, interviewed on a podcast in front of other people's stages? Could you be creating an evergreen video series so that you're attracting more clients into your funnel? Could you be writing that book, right? So that you can publish that book because your book becomes this income producing activity for you while you're sleeping. What are some of the habits that you're like, I don't have time for this, and when am I going to put this in? But when you look at our daily habits and how they line up with the goals that you're trying to hit, are there things on there? So I would love to hear, like, what is something that you're like, Angel, I'm going to take this off, I'm going to automate it, or I'm going to delegate it. I'd love to hear what is something that's on your list that is going to come off of that list. I know nobody likes a pop quiz. You can type it in the chat if you'd rather come. Designing my social media graphics. Yes, that is a great one, Kathy. Right? I know that they're fun to go and do, right? And it's really fun to play in this space. But unless that's your job and you get paid for those, probably you could have somebody else create those, and somebody is probably better at it. Somebody who's good at making the YouTube graphics, like editing your YouTube videos and, uploading, content that you've created, formatting your book, right? You wrote it, somebody else should format it. So yeah, designing your social media graphics. Okay, so I'm just going to put you just on the kind of on the hot seat a little bit. So if you're going to not design your own social media graphics, who is? Like, how do you see that? And where are you going to find that resource? I spend way too much time reading my emails that other coaches in my space are putting out, right? Yeah. So now if we're going to take this off, right, and we're going to delegate it, who's going to be, so make yourself like, here's some places I'm going to check into. And then instead of that, if you're not spending your time doing that, what will you be doing? Yeah, this is this is the Jumpstart Your Marketing and Brand Exposure, right? That is what this is. We're just doing some goal setting and planning, like making sure that we've got like our systems set up, right? Our calendar, that we are in control of our activities. So that's what we're doing this week. And then, yeah, then we'll build on this. I promise you. Spend too much time attending classes to learn how to do something instead of actually doing it. How many of us have signed up for a whole lot of stuff, right? Yeah, all the time. And I signed up for something yesterday. And, part of it is I sign up for stuff because I want to see what their sales funnel looks like, right? I'm looking and seeing the process and learning their sales funnel, because why create it ourselves, right? There's nothing new under the sun. But scheduling it, right? Scheduling, when am I going to really put that in? So how do we know, right? What items should we be signing up for? Does it line up right now with the goal, right? In the next 90 days, is this what I need in the next 90 days to hit this goal that I've got for myself right now? And it's so hard, right? Because we want to just be so supportive of all the folks around us, right? And we want to be included in those groups. And so, are there ways that you can still participate without it taking up time on your own calendar, but putting the activities in? But even some of those things, like you're learning the how to, and now, so think about, okay, so now that I've learned this how to, can I automate those pieces? Can I delegate some of that stuff that I just learned how? That doesn't always necessarily mean you have to be the one now doing the activity. Now how to hire somebody else to take care of what they should be doing and how that should look from somebody else. Somebody recently told me they could create a program for me to easily do kitchen cabinet proposals. Need to proceed with this because proposals take me a long time, right? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to that. And so if we could automate that, and I'll tell you where I got the motivation for this whole automation thing. I mean, as we wear all the hats, right? We're entrepreneurs. We're good at it, right? I mean, that's the good and dirty of it, right? Is we are good at a lot of things. We really can handle a lot of these, things, right? Like we can do graphics and we can write emails and we can create, we're entrepreneurs. We run circles around everybody. But there's key things that really grow our business that we need to be in touch with, right? Building our audience, connecting with our people, right? Connecting with our team, connecting with our clients. But so some of that extra work on the side. Yeah. Anyway, so how I got there was somebody had sent me an email to be involved with a book where you put a chapter in somebody else's book. And if you've ever done that, right? It's quite a process, right? You have the sales call and then they talk you into it and you have this conversation. And now we're like, there's all these parts to it. They sent me a link, right? And in this link, I filled out my information. I added my chapter in the box and I paid for it, like all in one step. I never talked to the person. We never had a conversation, and it was either a good fit or it wasn't, right? And a lot of times we just make it harder to do business with us. And so how can we simplify? How can we make it easier for people to give us money, right? How can we make it simpler and easier for them to hire us? Can we take out a couple steps? Can we, send them some videos? Can we send them some forms to fill out so that we're not having so many conversations so that we can serve more people and get out of our own way? Because if they have to talk to you to hire you, and that means they're waiting for you, they're getting on your calendar, they're waiting for that phone call, like me, right? I am the stopgap in my business growing. And at some point, because we're bringing on so many new clients or we're getting so much more visibility, we are going to be in the way. So if we can hear from the beginning, go, this is how I get out of my own way so that my business can grow, then we set ourselves up for success in 2021. Does this mean there's no number 6 meeting? It's a 4-week series, darling. So we're these 4 weeks on Thursdays is when we're meeting. I am doing a class tomorrow that is a Mastering Your 2021. And so that is a 1.5 hour class. I don't know. There's a lot on the schedule. So I don't mean to confuse you, but this is a 4-week series. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts, comments about the like, what do we need to stop doing, right? What we need to clear out and making sure that our daily habits line up with our goals. Okay. So now that we've gotten rid of some stuff, right? What is left is with these really clear, concise, like this needs to be my activities and this needs to be on my schedule first. And you guys have heard the jar analogy, the jar and the rocks analogy, right? Where if you start with a big mayonnaise jar, pickle jar, some great big jar, and you put your big rocks, your priorities in first, then all the little things you can kind of fit into the jar. They'll fit around the big stuff. But if you put the little stuff in first, then there'll be no room for the big rocks at the end. So we want to make sure that what we've put in our day are those income producing activities, those things that either bring exposure or revenue, right? Exposure or revenue. Those are my 2 biggies, right? So I'm either in front of a group or I'm working with clients, right? I'm in front of a group, so I got exposure, which means emails counts as exposure. Social media posts count as exposure. Speaking on somebody else's webinar platform on a panel counts as exposure. Being interviewed on somebody's podcast counts as exposure. Having a YouTube video, an evergreen webinar, or something that you're teaching on YouTube counts as exposure. Putting out a press release counts as exposure. So think about all the things that you can do or that you are doing now that create visibility for your business. And, and so when we've got, these are all the things, right? I'm networking. So I'm attending. How many networking events are you attending each week? Right? I am speaking. Maybe that's, you're stage swapping with somebody, doing a Facebook Live with somebody and doing a stage swap. You've been invited to speak on, to a small group, a local chamber group or a local networking group where you're actually the speaker, right? So you've got a presentation and you're speaking. Interviews, right? People are every day starting brand new podcasts and they are looking for guests. If you guys want to connect directly with podcasters who are looking for guests, I've got a Facebook group called needaguest.com. It's on, if you go to needaguest.com, it'll take you to the Facebook group. It'll connect you directly with podcasters who are looking to interview guests on their show. So find the right people find the right fit so that you're in front of your target audience every single week. Facebook Lives, right? Count as visibility. How many of you are doing Facebook Lives? Once in a while, regularly, consistently, right? Yeah, I hear you. Like, we got to be camera ready for these things now. And so it's kind of slowing me down. In a lot of this, right? What about articles? You're writing articles, right? And putting them on other people's platforms. There are magazines and online publications, and they are looking for fresh new content every day. Reddit, Medium, Authority, Elephant Journal, Motherly. I've got a whole list of places that are looking for your content. So if you like to write versus speaking, like that's okay, right? So yeah, they same thing, right? If you can get featured on some of these online publications with your articles, right, that are more evergreen. So I have if you go to makeyourbigimpact.com, there's a complimentary media guide that has some guaranteed media exposure, some places that you can start, right, to create that exposure. And so publishing, so there's another one. Press releases is another one. So think about all the things that you are doing, right, to get in front of people and create that visibility. That needs to go on your calendar first, right? That's number one. What am I doing today? I'm building my audience. I'm getting exposure. I'm putting myself somewhere, and on what I call OPA, other people's audiences. A lot of times what we're doing is we're talking to the same people over and over again, right? We're on our social media talking to our people who've already followed us, right? They're already in our circle, which we want to keep, we want to talk to them, right? That's engagement, right? Because we want to keep them engaged. But visibility is when you're in front of a new audience, somebody else, like somebody you've not been in front of. So that's why we go to networking events, right? This is visibility because these are fresh new faces for you, right? So speaking, being interviewed on somebody else's podcast, that's visibility. You doing Facebook Lives, you posting on your social media sites, that's engagement. And when engagement is, they're already in your funnel, right? And now we move them through to turn them into clients, right? But visibility is getting them into your funnel, right? So they haven't heard of you yet. Engagement, they've heard of you. They're on your email list. They're following you on social. They're already connected to you. They're in your Facebook group. That's engagement. Visibility is fresh new meat, right? Like fresh new faces, like somebody, they've never seen you before, they've never heard of you. That's the visibility. That's where visibility comes in place. And that's where all of these networking, speaking, interviews, Facebook Lives, publishing, writing articles, press releases, that's visibility. And that needs to be on your calendar first. The second thing that goes in your calendar is engagement, right? Talking to the people who are already following you, giving them a what's next, right? How do they work with you? So when you think about, this quarter, this 90 days, our followers become customers when they get results. So what's the exciting thing that you can put in front of them that you can be talking about? Have you launched a new product? Do you have a new course? Have you shifted the way that you're doing business? Have you tweaked one of your products and services? Is there a gift with purchase? Right? Have you added value? Have you aligned with some new technology, right? So what's new? And when we can talk about what's new with our current audience, then people, it's that fear of missing out, right? Now you give them a reason to get excited and to hang out with you. Like, oh, I've got to check that out, right? Because this is new. Right? Whenever a new restaurant would ever open up in our town, right, people would line up around the block, right? There's 3 restaurants sitting right next to it, absolutely empty, right? They've been there. People always want to be a part of that new shiny, right? The new shiny social media, right? Now they're on Clubhouse, right? Now they're on TikTok. Now they're here. Like we always want to be a part of the new. So follow the trends. What can you do that's new? How can you repackage? How can you remessage? How can you add something with value? Can you team up with somebody else that is a complementary service that is either in your upstream or downstream? And what I mean by that is when you serve your clients, you probably create a problem for them. Just as much as you solve a solution for them, you also create a problem. So maybe now they need to go buy something. Now they need another service. Now they need to go and work with somebody else because they've had success with you. They now need something else. That person, that service is in your upstream. So can you bring them in and collaborate with that person that's in your upstream? And then the downstream is somebody else has solved a problem for your client, their client, and now they need you. Like they've created problems for their clients and you are the solution. So when we think about the upstream, downstream, who's an upstream service for you and who's a downstream. So James, like you definitely have like in the home inspection business, right? An upstream and a downstream of people that you could be collaborating with that create this synergy of, hey, this is now new, right? Now I'm working with this team. We've got this program, we've got this service, and I'm highlighting and recommending, and you're doing some cross promotion between the three. So as I've just kind of like threw a whole lot of stuff at you, right? So if you think about like what's new that you can now go out and create some enthusiasm, some excitement, some energy, in any of those realms, right? Either something was new, or you are collaborating with somebody, or you've got a fresh new product. I'd love to see in the chat, like what's new and exciting that you can talk about with those that you're engaged with already.
Usually you work with realtors a lot of times, so that would be my upstream. And then when you find items that maybe are not up to par, then you can give out recommendations to different plumbers, to different heating and instructions. So you're going downstream to those guys.
So it's actually the opposite. So the downstream is the realtor, because they're sending you, right? You're going to get, they're finding the buyers who need the inspection. So they're in your downstream. So if you could do something that highlights, a particular realtor, you've got a relationship with a couple of them, right? That bring them together to say, hey, this is this time of year, right? And you're thinking of putting your house on the market, right? These are some of the realtors that I work with. And then the upstream is now that they've hired you, now that you've inspected their home, they need services. So here's some great, plumbers and electricians and house painters and roofers and all of that. And you already have your village probably, right? You guys have people that you've built relationships with, but your consumers, your clients, they don't realize how much value you bring to the table. It's your network, James, that makes you even more valuable. Because of the relationships that you have with some of these vendors, you are more valuable as a home inspector. And when you let your downstream people know that, like I've got a team of trusted resources, right? They're vetted, they're bonded, they're insured, right? Let me show you my upstream, right? And that makes them even more top of mind. Like if you can send them, like this is what's happening, your clients are struggling, like this is the resource that I have. So not only can that engagement be to prospects, but that engagement now to your downstream people, right? So for me, it's anybody in publishing, right, is in my downstream. You've published a book, you need marketing and exposure. So I have a team of publishers that I reach out to say, hey, we have all these fabulous resources for your authors. So now when they publish with you and they want to sell more books, I can get that referral from my downstream. Does that make sense? How often should you engage current followers without boring them? Well, if it's new, it's not boring, right? If it's the same old, it's boring. Do you want to buy from me now? How about now? On a scale from 1 to 10, are we any closer? Right? That is boring, right? When we're asking for stuff. But when you're adding value, so instead of saying, hey, do you want to buy my stuff, right? Is this working for you? Are you traveling? Like Demetra, you have a travel product, right? Let's have a conversation about what's going on in the traveling space right now that things have shut down and they've shifted. Are you planning your next trip? Right? Here are some places that are open, right? Here are some things that you can do to prep for your next trip. Right now, that's not boring. You're giving me value, right? Rather than going and saying, hey, buy from me, can I serve you? Right? And you know what your clients' problems are. And when you can solve them for them, and if we can solve them for them on a scalability place, like I put a video together, right? I put a video series together that's going to teach you this, right? I put a list of vendors, right? My VIP vendors together. Can I send that to you, right? Would you like a list of qualified vendors that do this? Can I add value to you? It's when we are always asking for something that people turn us off. They'll come to me, they'll come to you when we're ready. We're like, don't call me, I'll call you.
Right.
Right. But you know what their problems are and you know what they're struggling with. So give them some results, give them some answers, give them something exciting. Right? Here's a new version. Here's something else. Right? Document your process. Right? What is it that you're going through to improve your programs and services? Like, I just signed on with, this new technology. Does anybody else use this technology? I've now partnered with, this group of people, just want to introduce them to you. We've now added this new stream of service. We're now automating our schedule. We're using this calendar app. Right? Documenting your process and bringing them along, keeps them engaged in the process. Yeah. And so if you are adding value, think about this. People shop at Amazon every day.
Right.
Every day. I might have shopped there yesterday. Doesn't mean I'm not going to shop there again today. Why? They have what I want, right? When you have what they want and you are what they want, they're not bored with you. They are engaged with you, right? And staying top of mind and being in front of them at their time of need, right? If you stack that value to them, they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready now. I'm ready now to buy from you. Opening my Shopify store, pivoting online consultations and instructions for at-home beauty tools and facials. So that's brilliant. So tell them, right? We have to have that, like, here are some different things that we're doing. Now, here's what my Shopify store looks like. Okay, what do you guys think of? Think of the colors. What do you guys think of this, right? Engage with them. What things should I include in there? What are you missing? What would you like to see in my Shopify store? Bring them along that journey and documenting that journey for them. What are some of the things that you are going to cover in a consultation to give them so that it's not mysterious, right? Like, we're going to go through, right? We're going to look at this, we're going to look at this and this. And at the end of that, here's what you're going to know. You're going to know exactly what products you should be using. You're going to know exactly what foods you should be eating, right? You're going to have this result, this result, this result. I'll tell you what, folks, if the answer to selling, like if you're saying, I'm meeting all these people, I'm having all these conversations and nobody's buying, the answer to selling is results. Tell them what's in it for them, right? If you're having trouble selling, it's because people can't picture themselves using your product. They haven't quite figured out that they need you yet. The value stack isn't actually there, right? If we're on the fence, it's because you haven't stacked the value to say this is worth the price that you're gonna invest in. And so results, value. And this is the thing that that we spend a lot of time with. Like, as a small business owner, we spend a lot of time trying to convince one person at a time to buy from us, right? To become our customer. And so we spend a lot of our day having these one-on-one conversations, saying this is what you need. And we're pouring into people because we're givers, right? Like, at our very core, we want to serve people. We want to help people. It's not about the money that drives us. Most of us would do what we do for free because we love it so much. But because we love it so much, we forget how valuable we are. We forget that there is value in knowing what we know, the experience that we've created, like the education that you have gone through to learn everything that you do for your clients. They don't know that, right? They have no idea how to value that. And because it comes so naturally, we forget how to value that. And we start to want to give it away for free, right? We want to lower our prices. But when we are, your expertise is what they're coming to you for, right? So instead of having these one conversations at a time, if we can automate and do this group, create it in video and document and add this value to them in an email, add this value to them in videos, add this value to them by publishing your articles and publishing your book, then you won't feel like you're sitting on the phone all day, giving and giving and giving, and then feeling taken advantage at the end of the day. Because that's a very real feeling, right? Like I just give and give and I'm not making any money, or it's not coming back and nobody's buying from me, or nobody's referring me and nobody's hiring me. That should not be our over consuming emotion. Our over consuming emotion should be the conversations I'm having are with clients. The conversations I'm having are with buyers. So I love that. By the time they get on the phone with you, by the time they are actually in your Zoom, right, this discovery call with you, they're pre-qualified, right? They've read your books, they've gotten your gift, they've read your articles, they've followed you on your social media. And the phone conversation that you are having is, I want to hire you, right? And like a credit card is like being exchanged. Those are fun conversations to have, right? You're printing money, right? I've got an order form. I've got another order form. I'm sending out another invoice. And now you're looking at your phone and, oh, ka-ching, somebody else just enrolled, and oh, somebody else just signed up, and you're getting notifications. I promise you, at the end of the day you're not feeling taken advantage of, right? You're reminded that you do have value, that your business is growing. I mean, how many of you would not mind if your cash register rang every single hour? If it was ringing every single hour, you would not be frustrated, right? You would not be frustrated. This is the key to all of it, is having so that the only conversations you are having with people are with buyers or with customers, right? You're serving your customers, right? But with buyers. So write this down. No more onesies. No more onesies. We are not having prospecting calls. We are not having one-on-one discovery calls. We are not having a one-on-one, let me get to know you, as our very first introduction in meeting people. That is what's killing your business, because you're spending all day having these, I want to get to know you better. Now, I want to back up and put my little asterisk to this. Is one-on-one, like relationships are built one-on-one, solid, right? Eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly. That is how relationships are built. Totally. I'm not dismissing that. But you cannot be spending your prime business building hours with one-on-one discovery calls, right? Do those early in the morning. Have 1 hour at lunch, right? Where you do them in the middle of the day, or that's how you close out your day, right? But you are spending your prime business building hours building your business, growing your business, creating exposure, or creating revenue, right? Or serving your clients. The one-on-ones do not get to eat up your day, right? Because it will just kill you. It will just kill your revenue. It'll kill your revenue. I wish I could say that in a nicer way. I wish I could sugarcoat this, but it's what's killing small businesses. Most small business owners never make six figures. Like I said, $5,000 to $10,000 would it like, if I said, I just like, they'd just jump at it. So let me give you this little math nugget. If you were a published author, right? You took your little stories, your onboarding process, all the things that you're doing every single day, like how you serve your clients, you telling your stories. If you were to publish that into a book, and twice a week you were doing a podcast interview, a 20-minute, a 40-minute, 60-minute interview, and you were selling your books, or if you were giving them away to your downstream, right? Put these books in your downstream's hands, right? Because this is now telling them all the value that you bring to the table. If you were to sell 200 books a month, so 25 books twice a week, that's 200 books a month. That's $5,000 in sales. That is $5,000 in sales with no upfront inventory. You didn't handle fulfillment. You don't handle distribution, right? You are just monetizing your intellectual property. And so I just want to plant that little seed to you that there is revenue out there that you could be monetizing with your intellectual property, with what you are already doing. When we start documenting and creating these videos and creating this education, we can monetize that piece of it. When we start connecting with our downstream and our upstream and leverage that and turn that into a referring funnel that's like streaming up and streaming down, like, you have a nonstop prospect generator, right? And if you can take them through your process that automates it before they get on the phone with you, then you are just spending your time either creating exposure or talking to new clients, creating exposure or bringing on new clients. Kathy, I do women's networking, lead to individual connections via Zoom, but I feel like I could spend all day chatting. I'm not good at taking it further. I hear you. I remember when I first started, right? This was 10 years ago. I was having coffee meetings all day long. So I started doing, instead of a coffee meeting, I called it a non-dinner dinner party. So if somebody said, hey, I want to chat with you, Angel. I want to have coffee with you. Kathy, yeah, let's have coffee on Thursday, right? Then Pamela comes in and she's like, hey, Angel, I want to have coffee with you. I'm like, great. Kathy and I are already meeting on Thursday. Why don't you join us? And then Heather says, Angel, I want to have coffee with you this week. I'm like, great. I'm meeting with Kathy and Pamela. Why don't you join us? So now I'm having one get to know you, right? Pick my brain, right? Pick each other's brain, discovery meeting. But instead of having 4 meetings or 3 meetings, I'm having one, and I'm stacking the deck. What happens when you stack the deck, right? I'm freeing up my time. I'm only regurgitating, right? These now folks, now Kathy, Heather, and Pam are all together getting to know each other. They might not have met before. So I'm adding value. I'm growing their network. So they think I'm a rock star, right? Anything you can do to help people think you're a rock star, like, oh, this was such a great meeting for me, right? Right. And I just did it for time management. But it turns into you're adding value to others. So no more onesies, right? No more onesies. Stack the deck so that you are building your business one to many. Okay, so I kind of got off on a tangent there, right? So we're delegating, right? We're getting stuff off of our plate. And yes, you can absolutely do this all through Zoom. Zoom makes it so easy, right? We don't even and you can hop from, like, I can be in Denver, I can be talking with somebody in Illinois, right? Great tangent, right? It totally went off on a tangent. Okay, so here's the things we're going to stop doing. These are the habits that we're going to be replacing them with, right? We're going to create more exposure and visibility. And then the third piece is, what are you already doing, right? So some of the stuff, you are already doing it, but how can we make it better, right? How can we improve on the way that we're doing it, the way that we're delivering it, so that we are excellent, right? Because so now we stand out head and shoulders above our competition, right? They're like, anybody can sell this, but we have, better technology, right? We have a better team. We have a better follow-up system. We have a better, better graphics. We have better like, how can you take what you are already doing that's good, right? This is your core, way that you make money. How can I make that even better? How can I create excellence? What are some tips? Like, do I need to align with an influencer? Do I need to speak on, different stages? Do I need to publish my next book? Do I need to, have somebody else edit the videos that we're creating? Like, what is it that you are doing, and how do we make it even better so that you just look like a rock star, right? Do you need new headshots, right? Do we need to update our headshots? Do we need to update our website? Do we have to simplify the sales process? Do we need to now take credit cards if we didn't take credit cards before? Now, do we need to automate our invoicing? Do we need to automate our phones? Like, what can we do to make what we're already, what we're currently doing even better? Are there platforms other than Facebook? There are a lot of platforms other than Facebook, right? Depending on what you want to do, right, with those platforms. So, there's Clubhouse, right? Clubhouse is now a great new platform that everybody's playing on. YouTube, absolutely. You definitely, if you don't have a YouTube channel, you want to dominate and own your own YouTube channel, putting out content every single week. And this can be you documenting the process, right? What would you say to a prospect? If somebody refers you, they're like, hey, Suzanne, I want to refer you to Lisa. right? Could you send Lisa, here's a video that gets, just a 2 to 3 minute video that lets you get to know who I am, right? And if that makes sense, now get on my calendar, right? Or, here's the top things that I can help you with, right? Here, go forth and prosper, right? And when they get results out of that, they're like, oh, all right, I need to hire you, right? So now we improve the process so that you're not so much in the way. So when somebody wants to refer you, here's a great little video that introduces me to the person you want to refer to. Somebody wants to get on, you get off the phone and there's a next step for them to work with you. Can you send them the video series that takes them through that next step for what it takes to onboard, instead of all those questions you're always answering? Is there a checklist that we can send them? A list of resources that you can provide to them. And again, you guys are doing this all day for free right now anyways. You are giving away your content. You're having these conversations. You're telling them that every day for free already. If we can record it, if we can document it and put it into a program, that now you can monetize it. And even if it's not monetized, even if you're giving it away for free on these other platforms, like sending them to YouTube or giving them your ebook, you're giving it away for free right now, but you're taking your time, right? And so how much is your time worth? And so when we think about your revenue goals for the year, and I know you guys all have one, hopefully you guys wrote down, like one of those things was your revenue goal. So if you've got your revenue goal and you think about the average ticket price that your clients spend with you. So how much do they spend? They spend $20, $100, $1,000, 500, whatever the number is, right? How many clients do you need to serve to hit that revenue goal? So if you're saying, I want to hit, $100,000 this year, right? And my average client spends $100, right? Well, now we need to raise your prices, first of all. And so that's a good place to start, right? How can we take what we're doing and make it even better, right? Elevate, if we can make ourselves even more valuable, right? We can raise our prices. And so we can serve less clients. So now we say, now that my average client pays $500 to me, right? So now if I want to make 100,000, my calculator, average client spends $500, I need 200 clients, right? 200 clients over the year. I divide that by quarters, right? So that's 50 clients a quarter. Breaks it down to about 17 clients a month, or about 4 clients a week. Doesn't that sound so much more manageable, right? To say, right, if I'm going to hit my revenue goal for the year, all I need is 4 clients a week. I just need 4 clients a week in order to hit that revenue goal. So if I am stacking the deck with all of this visibility, right? I'm networking, I'm speaking, I'm doing interviews, I'm publishing, I'm doing Facebook Lives, and I'm doing this group thing, right? And then I'm automating the process. And then I'm only having 4 phone calls, right? By the time they get into that process, I'm only having to fill my calendar with 4 phone calls. And those 4 phone calls are with clients, right? They've gone through that lead generation. They've kind of gone through my funnel. And so now, how much time have you just saved? If your day, like how many of those phone calls could you have? Like you've just freed up so much and simplified your system so well that with your 4 clients that week, you can hit that entire revenue goal. And if you get off track a little bit, it's easy to get back on track, right? This week I did 3. So that means next week I've got to do 5, right? And if I only did 1, that means next week I need to shift some things in the process. I did not put enough visibility in because I didn't bring enough people in my sales castle. Or is that sales conversation, right? Do I need to shift how I'm having that sales conversation? Questions, comments? Was this helpful? I see you guys you look like you're taking notes and nodding and right? And so as we develop this foundation, I mean, a lot of things, it's easy to get caught up in the new shiny, right? I just want to go and I just want to have, and but if we don't fix the foundation, right, James? If we don't have a good foundation, this whole thing will just go, just fall down, right? And we want to set you up for absolute success. And so the goal this year, whatever your revenue goal is, and when you look at how many clients you need to serve, in fact, let's see that. How many clients, put in the chat box, in order to hit your revenue goal, how many clients do you need to serve this year? Put that number in. I don't need to know your dollar revenue goal, right? But how many clients do you need to serve? So it's taking your revenue goal, the average ticket price of your average client. So, you might have some that pay 50 and you might have some that pay, right? So we might want to drop some of those lower dollar amount, right? How can we put that into a package? How can we wrap that into, because if your average client, right, pays $19 over the course of the year, like, let's drop that product, right? That is not the right product. How do we put that into a bigger package? How can we bundle that into so that the cost per client actually increases? And if you've got raving fans and you put out a new program, a new service, a new bundle, like, they're so excited to jump on board and support you. So think about that. So 50 clients, right? 50 clients, Deborah, that's one a week, right? That's one, right? That, like, you're like, okay, right, I can do that. I've had times where I've brought in, I did an event where I spoke at, and I think I brought in 16 clients in one day, right? This is like, you could hit these goals. These are so attainable. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at those numbers, and I want you to think, how can I go fast, right? If I was going to go faster, could I hit that this quarter, right? Instead of taking all year to get my 50 clients, could I go out and get them this quarter? Hey, could I go get those 27 in the next 12 weeks? Like, not going slow and painful and dragging it on, but let's go 50 people, right? You look at your email list, you look at how many people are following you, you look at the impact that you are already making in your contacts, your address book. If you were to gather them all together, all the LinkedIn followers, all the people, like, you could hit 50 this quarter. I want you to just, like, let that sink in. How would that shift 21 for you? That, my darling, is explosive, right? That, my darling, is explosive. If we're truly gonna, like, wrap our head around this and say we're gonna do this, right? How about if we do that? Okay, 27, Lisa, right? 27. Let's do that this quarter. Let's take on and let's slay this dragon. And right, how many people do you need to be in front of? What kind of visibility do you need to create? What kind of automation? What exciting package could you put together that gets them in and into that sales castle? Let's go get 27 this quarter, right? In Q1, let's crush it. Let's absolutely crush it. Because I promise, 27 people, right? This is not rocket science, right? Like, let's not, right? 48. 4 groups per year, 6 per group. That's 4 groups per year, 6 per group, right? But you could be running more than one group, right? You could be running 2 groups, right? And I know that this number, right, if we think about what your revenue goal is probably enough, but I promise you, when you make more money, you do more good, right? When you make more money, you do more good. You can support your favorite causes. You can take care of your family. You can swipe out that debt that you're carrying. You can take care of a loved one. You can support the causes that are more, that matter to you, that matter deeply to you, right? Make more money and then give it away, right? If it's not like, I don't need the money, then don't keep it, right? You can give it away, but you can do more good when you serve more clients. Right? So let's create the momentum that gets that number, and let's just go and hit it hard and hit it fast in 21. Deal? Yeah? Fabulous. Comments, thoughts, questions, anything? Yes, Demetra.
Actually, I have a question. It's actually going back a step where you're talking about making contents, and especially for like YouTube. Now, unfortunately, I've been kind of slowing down on the book writing because I haven't been wanting to think too much about travel, but I promise I'm going to get started. Is it a good idea, either before the book is out or even after, to read a chapter on YouTube to like get people excited to have an idea of what's going on, or is that giving away too much information?
I'm never worried about giving away too much information. I don't, right? If I'm going to give it away, I'm going to give it away. Like,
Okay.
and feel good about that, right? Because if you're going to record something and
Right.
have it out in the world, it's out in the world. So I never worry about, am I giving away too much? Because if people love you, they're going to buy from you, right? They're going to want more of you.
Okay.
I've published 12 books. I speak every week, right? I've got all of this content that we put out and make ourselves available for free. And so I promise you, when they get on my phone, they're like, Angel, now I want more time with you, right? I want to come to your boot camp. I want to spend 3 days with you at your boot camp, because if this is what I'm going to get in a freebie this amount of time, like imagine what it's like to work with you all year. Right? They want more of you. So don't be worried about giving away too much. You're giving away too much right now on these one-on-one phone calls. Right? You are already giving away your time, right?
Okay.
Your information, that's different. Stop giving away your time. And so it's okay. And if you're an interesting reader and it's interesting content, I don't know if you have to actually go through and actually read a whole chapter. Demetra, if you're going to go and read it, record it and put your audiobook on file, like upload it
Okay.
as the full audio. Like, how do we do this better? Right? So like, come up with, is this creating the exposure? Is this,
Okay.
getting the visibility of one to many? And how do I do this better? Right? Just like, how do we elevate and bring more in even faster? How do we find others to be able to share a chapter of my book? How do we find others to be able to share? Suzanne, what are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
earlier, oh, sorry.
Suzanne.
Oh, earlier you were talking about that you had shared like a chapter of a book with people. So that's something I'm curious about. Like, how do we do something like that where people can say, yes, I want to know more about this?
So Suzanne, right now, if I was say, how do I get in touch with you? How do you answer? Where do you send how do I get in touch with you?
You mean through email?
Sure. Is that what you would say?
Mm-hmm.
Give me your email address.
Mm-hmm. Or phone, depending on who the person was.
Okay. So, I'm just using the system you already have. So if you're saying to people, right, if you want to get in touch with me, send me an email, then you could email them the PDF of a chapter of your book. Now, that's one-to-one, right? That's a one thing. If you email me, I'll send you a chapter in my book. Or we could automate that system that if they sign up, right, in either on an email client, through a form software, or like even a jot form, right? If they sign up for something, when they sign up, it adds them to your email list, so you get their email address, and then it automatically sends them the PDF of that chapter. So take the systems you're already using, and how do I make it even better, right? And I would automate that. And then you could even go one step further. If you text me, right? If you text the word angel to 26786, you're going to get the first chapter, right? If you text Suzanne, you're going to receive the first chapter in my book, and then it's automated. And you don't have to be physically there for it. It all goes through and it texts them like they text you, and it goes right back into their system. You get their contact information, and then you can further send them value that way. Lots of fun stuff. So you guys, I have my Media Mastery Bootcamp coming up on February 5th, 6th, and 7th. It is a 3-day event where we take you through the systems and the processes, all of the stuff to automate, to create more exposure, publishing your book in 90 days, hitting these goals, teaching you how to make $1 million with your book. 100 sales a day is $1 million in sales in a year, right? 100 sales a day is $1 million in sales in a year. So we teach you all of that at our Media Mastery Bootcamp. It is coming up February 5th through the 7th. If you guys want tickets to that, they are $1,500, but it includes a full year of membership into Media Mastery. And it gives you a ticket to come back 3 times a year to the Media Mastery Bootcamps. This one is going to be virtual. We're not doing it live, which is sad to me, but it is what it is. And so if you guys are interested in being a part of Media Mastery for the entire year of 2021 and working with us, our first boot camp is February 5th through the 7th, and it's $1,500 to enroll in that. How do you set up the text codes? So I work with, there's actually 2 different ways that 2 different companies. One is Mind Me Mobile, and I have a little affiliate code that I can send you that gives you 2 free weeks to try it. If you guys want to try that, I'm looking for that code right now. Yep, here it is. Yeah, so it's a 2-week trial. Who asked me that, Pamela? This would be brilliant for you, darling. Right, for building your client base, sending reminders, sending out specials. Even for you, James, this would be really a valuable type of service, right? To connect with your, not only your prospects and leads, but also with your customers too. So that's a company called Mind Me Mobile. Mind Me Mobile. And if you want to see it in action of what that looks like, then I'm going to type in, if you text the word angel, ANGEL, to the number 26786. So if you go to your phone and you know, as if you were going to do a brand new message, in the 2 part, you would put in the number 26786 as the contact, right? 26786. And then in the message bubble, just type the word angel. When you do that, you're going to see how this automation piece falls together, right? Because you're going to get an automatic response. Now, you guys can put in that automatic response a video, you can put a PDF, you can put a photo, you can put a link to a website. I mean, think about what your next step is. You could put a link to your calendar, right? Book me on, book an appointment. I mean, think about what your sales funnel is and how can we automate that and get more people to make it like quick and easy for them to do business with you. The text funnel isn't working for me. When I signed up, I didn't get the gift from the speakers. So, who's number 1877? Last 4 digits, 1877. Who's here? Kimberly. Yeah. So Kimberly, you just opted in. So it should send you, it's kind of got to go to space, but it should send you very quickly a welcome from me and a link to get that complimentary.
I think it took about 20 seconds, but I did get it.
Oh, you did? It was like 20. Okay. All right.
That's it took maybe about 20 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, it's Mind Me Mobile is the company, Mind Me Mobile. And it says that Mind Me notification when you get the, or maybe I just get the Mind Me notification. I don't know if it tells you Mind Me, but if you click on it, right, and go through, there's probably a way that you can even sign up through Mind Me Mobile through that text opt-in as well. Deborah, so the text funnel isn't working when I've signed up. I didn't get the gift. Is that from me or is there not getting a gift from you?
Well, it wasn't now, it was in a previous networking or summit of some kind. So sometimes I don't know why it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know if it was Mind Me Mobile.
Yeah, so sometimes, and this is just a little side thing, like if you've already signed up with it, depending on how they set up their account, it won't send you a second time if you've ever signed up with them before. Like mine used to be, if you signed up with me, if you ever entered it again, it wouldn't send you. but I had to, so it could be the person who set up the funnel and how they have theirs set up. So I think that we are out of time for today. I mean, was this valuable? Was this good stuff? Was this helpful? Are you going to come back next week? Yes, yes, yes. All right. Yeah, we're getting to the good stuff, right? This was kind of like we had to peel back, right? What's wrong with our system, right? So that we can get that out of the way. And now we can go forward with wild, explosive growth, right? I think that is going to be the word for this group, is explosive. So Deborah, thank you so much for giving us that. Like, the universe loves fast, right? It loves fast. And if we can do it faster and we can do it easier, like, everybody's happier. Everybody's happier. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today, for coming on. It is 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. 2 to 3:30 p.m. So that's 12 to 1:30 Mountain time. And then do the math. And it's these 4 weeks. So this was week 1. And so we still have 3 more weeks. And so I will hopefully send the right email Zoom link next time. So cheers. Thank you all. Bye-bye.